Alright, let me have a look if they are therefore still playing there. Okay, they are 30 minutes in. Yeah, the lightning storm was definitely terrible. That was horrible casting. Tornado did its job. It was kind of like a basis for the final success because of dropping the population limit maybe and slowing down the economy there. But still thinking it would have been better used against the army. Would have been maybe a bit more immediate advantage there, but hard to say. Okay, I'm gonna be asking potentially ULysses. Okay, so asking right now ULysses if they are wanting to be just kind of playing with only basically as little luck as possible, because obviously they are Brazilian and Chilean, and connection to Europe, no, well, it's not most ideal. We'll be adding some delay for them. So if they want to be just gonna keeping it fine, no problem, but when there is the opportunity, why not ask? They play an even no patch, by the way. So no balance patch. That would be kind of fun, real original. So let's wait a bit for the answer. So that maybe we could be getting the next game. And if they we just kind of wanted to keep playing, then we're just gonna be doing something here, finding some game ourselves. You can currently watch on ULysses stream, Twitch TV/ what is this? ULysses AoT. Yes, ULysses AoT is playing his games against Sensuy. Currently 30 minutes into an Anatolia game. Interesting. Of course, Oranos versus some Norse. Where we have Loki for ULysses. And what else than Oranos for Sensuy? So feel free to take potentially some little break. And maybe can be right about now therefore showing here the stream. Let's maybe quit it. And then potentially you can launch it, of course, again.
Skip til ég samþykk. Já, timbursveikur ég vil. Skip, já, samþykk. Skipan. Ég vil. Tilbúinn. Ég vil. Já, ég vil. Ég vil. Skipan, já, til samþykk.
You can see right now the score, right? 7,000 points here. In a retold, you will be already in like 30,000 at 33 minutes. You can see how massively they changed the score points for some reason. I don't understand why, but whatever. Not sure if they wanted to be obfuscating some numbers or some specific moments in the game, hard to say. But again, one of the good exchanges.
Já, til orustuslag.
Tilbúin. Timbursveit. Skipan. Samþykkt. Ég vil.
Tilbúin. Já. Fyrir það til orustuslag. Já. Tilbúin. Já. Orustuslag.
Ég vil. Timbursveit. Já, ég vil. Já, ég vil.
Hver er það? Tilbúin. Hver er það? Samþykkt. Ég vil. Tilbúin.
Já. Timbursveit.
Skipan.
Já. Tilbúin. Ég vil. Já. Tilbúin. Já. Samþykkt.
Hver er það?
Skipan. Já. Tilbúin. Samþykkt. Já. Tilbúin. Já.
Tilbúin.
Já. Timbursveit.
Sensuy evidently having absolutely nothing else but just Arcade.
Tilbúin. Ég vil.
No, well, Nidhogg is not gonna be entirely too useful against that, I'm afraid.
Skipan. Til já. Fyrir það. Skipan. Já.
Not like he's too much better on retold, unfortunately.
Tilbúin. Já.
I really don't understand why they're actually so afraid of making him stronger. Maybe because the Norse were from the start pretty powerful, so they didn't want to be making them even more so. So I guess Nidhogg is gonna be a bit of a victim of that, possibly. Might be.
Tilbúin. Fyrir þar. Ég vil. Fyrir það.
But now maybe that could be a good opportunity for buffing him up, considering that Norse are not entirely considered at the top level anymore, or OP level rather.
Skipan. Samþykkt.
Hver er það? Samþykkt.
Já. Tilbúin. Samþykkt. Orustuslag. Til orustuslag. Já. Samþykkt. Orustuslag. Já. Samþykkt.
I mean, like, it still looks quite a bit fine, even the graphics to me. People who obviously came, like, after a long time into Retold, they're just gonna be not having quite a hard time potentially adjusting to the graphics here. It still looks quite a bit alright to me, but I'm weird, I guess, because I like also original Age of Empires 2 graphics as opposed to Definitive Edition. But, well, 2D, of course, always ages way more gracefully than 3D. But Age of Mythology, to be honest, always looked pretty solid. Considering that it was one of the early 3Ds, and the strategies, they did a pretty good job. Secrets of the Titans even. Oh man, we missed a good game here apparently.
Tilbúin.
Hver er það? Timbursveit.
No, but Titan actually for a Norse, that's always a problem, right? Maybe therefore having to commit some probably villagers into ULysses, and therefore getting that down that way. You can see water interestingly practically empty for both. Nobody even fishing. Oh well, looks like it maybe Sensuy is fishing a bit.
Tilbúin.
No, and that's gonna be taking a long time here. Before that's gonna be even finished. So, some villagers of course committed to ULysses in there. And Sensuy apparently surprised by Titan. I wonder how many resources he has. If he maybe could have been getting Titan a bit earlier. And he just kinda thought that maybe they are not playing for Titan or I don't know. No, but it's not entirely looking too super hot currently for ULysses, it seems like. The actual addition of something else than just archers is gonna be probably working well for Sensuy here. Yes, another pop limit. 180 is actually keeping full pop limit currently, Ulysses, on the 4 TCs. So the fact that Sensuy is even actually able to push him is fairly interesting. Devin probably some kind of solid trade. We see some kind of trade through bottom. As apparently right now Red is scouting there.
Tilbúin stand. Já.
That's a pretty good use of the Nighthawk. Seems like it maybe right now Ulysses, rather Sensuy is maybe not entirely even aware that he's there. Almost feels to me, but downside right now secure, at least for the moment. Titan is 30% in. Now if he's gonna be managing to get the Titan in the situation that we currently are or something similar, then it probably could be a game winner, frankly. Quite really just strongly depends if he's gonna be able to keep the TC or not. Like right about now the attempt on the defenses, but is he gonna be having enough time to drop them before he's gonna be getting overwhelmed military-wise? No, I don't entirely think so too much. So I guess right now Ulysses was looking if he has some kind of idols somewhere. Well, you do have a hotkey for that potentially, but we just wanted to be having a bit more of a control scouting for that than anything else. This is starting to be a problem right about now, thinking for Ulysses. That means the Titan's still quite a bit far away. Not entirely thinking necessarily that Prostamas is gonna be able to get there in time to destroy it, but he might be able to disrupt the gameplay enough that the Titan will be manageable, maybe. You can see right now 170 out of 160 pop limit. Ulysses definitely can be working with more. So this is pretty important right now for Sensuy. Hopefully he's gonna be even able to claim the TC as soon as possible. And now, he's gonna be right now fishing for the second TC. Wolf Sarks probably could be enough here. Yeah, should be. No, and the problem is he's actually gonna be getting army even into the Titan Gate. Oh, well, that's actually not too comfortable currently for Uli. 72, 3, he's still right now growing up. So right now, since are gonna be switching over, has to be helping defend. Yeah, he kinda needs to because Titan Gate is gonna be still a bit too far away. But it doesn't look like that right now, Sensuy is gonna be having some kind of interest in what powers left. No idea, of course, what he advanced through. I haven't really seen any kind of mystery that could be right now letting us know. So, cannot know that currently. No, but another potentially important thing could be that, of course, Ulysses has currently turned quite a lot of villages into Ulfsarks. So he has lost like maybe, I don't know, 30 villages to all of this amongst the other places. So he might be actually falling behind on the other resources. I mean, like the gold probably still will be fine. The trade doesn't seem to be right now disrupted all that much. So it's probably no problemo. But Sensuy is gonna be at this point all over the place, it looks like. 82%. There's a bit of a disruption right now on the TC. Oh, unluckily the towers are gonna be randomly positioned and they're therefore too far away from the TC. So they've been really good help in that. No, and Sensuy, we have also seen the message, if you have noticed that he was also researching secrets of the Titans. But now with the Titan coming up, I'm not entirely thinking that he's gonna be having enough time to actually drop it properly and build it. But depends now, currently. What's gonna be the process for Ulysses. Okay, so there we go. There he is. Population limit, of course, is gonna be at this point a bit of a major problem. And he sent it Ulfsark directly south. And Titan, he was clicking the Titan there too, right? If I saw it correctly. So he's gonna be making his way there. Since on the way is the TC in the middle, he should be also right now disrupting that if he can. Yeah, exactly. That is a logical thing to do here. Nice building it, kinda slow. Prostamas doesn't have entirely enough villages in there to be super quick. Now, just the question is going to be how well defended he's going to be. If he's placed some kind of random spots there or whatever. Random buildings, maybe some further towers. Oh, that's gonna suck. That's gonna be a problem for the trade. He's having 1300 gold currently, Ulysses. Can survive a bit on that. But, of course, even the lost population limit is gonna be a major issue because he's having 140, 20 of that is Titan. So he's gonna be at 120. He's having legitimate like 1 TC population limit. Wow. Not too comfortable. Of course, another problem for Ulysses, for Sensuy is going to be that he's not only gonna be losing the Titan Gate, but he's also because of that gonna be losing the TC, and probably quite a few things either. The bottom TC2 is gonna be an issue, so that's such a shame that maybe we didn't get this game live. It seems like quite a bit of an epic one. I guess since we are right now seeing the ending here, not much of a point in trying to stream the recorded game of that, but maybe at least could be downloading the record of Voobly. Not sure if they play and rate it. You know, GG's coming up, and yeah, has to be. It has to be. He's not gonna be having enough time at this point for that, unfortunately, anymore. Well, that was a cute one. No. Can't say right now how actually informed it looks like Sensuy is. Yeah, Sensuy is definitely well known for Titans. Definitely is. Especially in the original game. I mean, like in the original game, fast Titan with Oranos was quite a bit of a common strat to do. Hey, 3 dinners. Okay. So we go. I'm just kinda hoping that you're gonna be able to properly connect at this point. That is a different question. Okay, we can apparently. No patch turn can Sensuy kill you that we were doing last time. That was probably last year, before I was having my graphics card back. Or new one rather, and the old one crashed. Okay, so let's put off the scoreboard probably. Oh, so everything else should be probably working normally. But yes, that's gonna be that. Well, how was I using it? Game room. I can show the game room to you too. can actually even put on stream live on. Okay. It could be fun. I'm just hoping that it's gonna be all running fine because I'm not sure if I have run the game after on the new graphics. Oh no, that's just like a question at this point. Probably gonna be having to test it for sure. So that I don't disrupt them unnecessarily. Everything just like the old times. Waiting for the game to launch as well. We have the full experience as it used to be. Now we have of course the free pick with the spectating. Everything seems to be right now going fine, so I'm gonna be trusting that it's gonna be launching all right. Random Ulysses got, okay. No, and we're gonna be therefore starting with Marsh here. Everything seems to be working as it should. We're gonna be without observer commands though, because that's, again, it's no patch. So you're just gonna be having old school, and basically what we see is what we get. So therefore no H advances, no upgrades, no nothing. Those were great tools by Rebels Rising that were added into the original game through the patching on the Voobly balance patch. But well, this is kind of like oddly comforting to be looking at actually the original game. And otherwise, it's also quite a bit familiar, and everything still kind of the same-ish. No, and we are having at this point Marsh. As our game, they already played like about maybe 2 before. The last one evidently was quite a bit of a banger. No, and for the gods, we are gonna be having Oranos for Onu, Organization of Natural Uppers, Prostamas, aka Sensuy, our old school Brazilian, of course, and he is gonna be having the gold mine kind of forward. You don't necessarily right now see what's gonna be around it. No, and against him is gonna be ULysses playing with Siamon and especially Isis. So he's gonna be an Eggy this time around. He played with a random god. Seems like he's gonna be having the gold mine kind of further away. Not sure if there's gonna be some kind of forest to help him with the production. Most probably not, I'll be assuming. And something else, not entirely too much, it looks like. Just gonna check in if the stream, everything is running as it should. Probably so. I'm guessing that everything is alright here. Haven't removed the scene, so just gonna be checking if on also Twitch everything is fine. Yeah, it seems like that it is. Okay, so hopefully gonna be getting something fun to enjoy, with first relic right now being Dwarven Calipers, minus 20% on the siege cost, pretty great. Number 2, we don't have 6 relics, only 4. This time around Harmonious Necklace. That's gonna be superb, especially for the Eggy. And then number 3 in the middle is gonna be Ship of Fingernails for the extra gold. And last one, we're gonna be having to wait to be discovered still. That's a very good gold. And again, reminder, we are playing on the original game, so we're just gonna be having all kinds of original, maybe even oddities. We'll see if it's gonna be some kind of obscene map or not. Already this combination is kind of fun, but well, that's something that you can actually get even on Retold. And okay, oh well, 3.6 damage, of course, it's gonna be fairly high. So he's gonna be already wanting to abuse the villager, and it's a Atlantean citizen, so therefore full 2.5 and whatnot. So plenty more HP than we do have on Retoldos, as apparently Sensuy. I'm gonna be trying to get rid of him early. At this point, because we are also casting, I'm kinda halfway expecting they're gonna be trying to show off a bit, which, well, I'm all for. That could be good fun. That could be very good fun in that. No, and well, so far, we don't see any kind of further gold mine for the Eggy. That's, I guess, maybe something that's gonna be slightly concerning for him. I'm imagining. Okay, something right about now here, not really. No, even though this is gonna be probably fully locked off, that's unfortunately connection here, so it's not gonna be completely safe. So that kind of slightly sucks here. But I'm just like impatiently waiting where the hell is the gold for ULysses. It has to be somewhere. It could legitimately be even somewhere there, even though it looks like this is gonna be a huge forest, so probably not. Maybe it's gonna be here, beyond the TC. Really, the original maps didn't have any kind of constraints too much, so you could be getting all kinds of random crap. Which, of course, then force the players to accommodate properly. And, well, we are going to be at this point having some proper scouting done. Maybe actually by Sensuy first. Okay, there we are. ULysses. Okay, so there's gonna be at least one gold mine, but it's still only one. Gonna be waiting for all kinds of others. No, and for the advances, we are therefore going to be. We are gonna be at 44% currently for Prostamas. So he's advancing for about 430, so absolute box standard classic original game upgrade time. No, and for the opposition, we are not entirely going anywhere yet. I'm guessing, since this is an original game, then he could be just gonna go in for Priest Siege. I mean, like, Isis Priest Siege is absolutely busted. He's going, interestingly, for Anubis. Wow, okay. No Ancestors and Eclipse. Huh, so that's probably not gonna be Priest Siege then, I guess. Hey. It would have been one excellent for the Eggy, of course. It's gonna be a bit of a disappointment, I'm thinking, for ULysses, but Prosperity coming forward. And wait, what? He's gonna be prospering without Pharaoh in place for the empowerment? Man, okay. Okay then, advancing 30%, so therefore he's gonna be really kinda late. If he's not gonna be fast heroic on one TC, I'm not entirely certain at this point, it's hard to say. Because again, this time we don't have all the resources. We can theoretically go into the post game and see maybe something there, but it's not entirely fully reliable. So maybe I'm just gonna be trying to do it without it. And just gonna be waiting for the players to... Well, when they get into the Aegis, they simply get there and get the clickings. And the resources are gonna be, of course, a bit of a surprise. Of the hand. That's a bit unfortunate, because you can see right now, right nearby, he was also having the cranes. Would have been quite an excellent spot to stay at. Sad story for him, I'm imagining, but nonetheless, Anubis in, and we are going to be therefore already heading forward into the... No, don't tell me he's gonna be trying to get this TC. Don't tell me he's trying to actually get a town center. That would be kinda wild if he is. Almost seems like, considering also the obelisk, that he might be actually really attempting to do so. Turmei there, they're gonna be missing each other, right? He's gonna be moving leftwards, yeah. Okay then. Okay, is he gonna be noticing? We should be seeing him. No. Well, with the priest nearby as well, TC is coming down, so yeah, I'm thinking that ULysses maybe is gonna be a bit showing off currently. Last game was pretty close that they had. You're showing the ending of it, and it was quite a bit something, so definitely recommend watching ULysses stream, Twitch TV/ULysses, the double S and AoT at the end. So he was streaming his games against Sensuy, or still is, so you can also watch his POV there. No, and now therefore what? So some 2 TC fasty heroic is gonna be making out of it? Is that what he's trying to do? You can see second TC even for the Atlantean. Oh, wow. Second town center for him, really? Now that's a retold strat right there. Seeping into the original game here. Let's see how well it's gonna be working. Because at this point the Serpents, they have minus 90% against the villages still. Minus 50% against the heroes. So we can see that was already in the original game. Again, this is a no-patch version. So the absolute 103 AoT that we used to be playing 22 years ago. 23 almost. Because the last patch, if I'm not mistaken, was either early February or late January. Because Titans were released in the autumn, and they were having 3 patches, and then they dropped it, because they were already working on Age of Empires 3. So I think it's either January or February was the last patch. 2003. No, 2004. 4, because 2002 was released, 2003 was Titans, 4. Yeah, so 2004. January, February 2004 is the latest version, and therefore this balance of Age of Mythology, the Titans, therefore. And I'm still kind of confused by the gold mines on ULysses' side, because he's having like literally 1 gold mine in there. There probably is gonna be still a second somewhere in some absolutely stupid spot. Unless it's gonna be one of the maps where not all the resources spawned, because that's something that of course could happen in the original. It's absolutely horrible. I'm legitimately having PTSD from Retold. How the game crashes for me there sometimes. And basically every single time I'm seeing a bit of a hiccup because of the peer-to-peer connection, because of the lag. My heart stopped because it seems like that the game is gonna be crashing. But well, and the computer, but nonetheless, that's probably not gonna be happening here. Never had too many problems with the original, and now should be probably having, no, well, not much of a different situation, frankly. No, but not entirely right about now doing too super hot as I'm thinking for Oranos, because he's not entirely able to do enough damage here so far. It's kind of like a proper old school play with so many Turmei here. Yeah, that's how it used to be done, especially 20 years ago. Like Turmei were an important piece of the gameplay. But I'm kind of liking the increase of the priest here. Looks like it maybe there's gonna be therefore some kind of chance of a heroic age down the line. So far it seems like we don't have food considering the lack of villages getting created, but the armor is nice, so he's probably gonna be at least at minimum thinking of it. And well, soon he's gonna be having to probably also switch into that mine because he's at 920. So very quickly, that's gonna have to change from the main one in his base. That's gonna be also running out soon. At this point, not much of a point even looking at the upgrades, because there's not gonna be anything here too much. Yeah, it didn't used to be done in the original game as seriously. Retold is quite a bit different in that. Well, that's because also there are all kinds of different situations and different gods. They're gonna be having bonuses for it too. So, it's influenced by all these things. It's a pretty good spot. It's gonna be also able to lure potentially right now some of the further piggies in here. And they are having what? Center spot? Okay, so this is gonna be one spot. This is another. So this is centerpiece. They can be going all the way about there. So this granary is useless for these, but it can be useful for the top ones. they can be lured about where these piggies are. Approximately. Well, but the amount of slingers, that's gonna be somewhat of an interesting crash. And original shockwave. 4 seconds, by the way. 4 seconds of a stun. Yeah, well, for about like 10 years, you don't remember what it is, even on the original, because on the balance page, it was one of the first things that was patched out into like 2 seconds, right? Into half of it. So yes, the original shockwave was quite a bit something. But of course, you don't have infinite use cases at this point. You're gonna be having the 3 classic, as we do have the Atlanteans with their multi-god powers, not and for the opposition. That's gonna be the classic one, and oh well. Another town center here for Prostamas, aka Sensuy. So, even though right now that is gonna be aware of it, probably not entirely something he can do anything about. Okay, no next age yet. And we are right now adding plenty of Murmilos, so I'm gonna be assuming, especially with the TC there too, that Sensuy is not gonna be advancing either. I'm gonna be guesstimating. Can say it now, economical upgrades. Nothing in here, he's having the Harmonious necklace. So that's practically pickaxe, and for the opposition we have in the pickaxe itself. So odd experience to be right now after such a time casting the original game too. Yeah, well, we're just gonna get used to some of the things that you see, and right now it's a bit different. Yeah, well, the Prometheans probably aren't going to be entirely that great here. That is certainly true, especially with how many priests ULysses has gone for. And Monumental Soldiers. No, I mean, like, at this point, it's gonna be, of course, quite a bit useful. Maybe you could have been placing it a bit more forward, so that you'll be blocking even these positions from the Shockwave. Or potentially from even the kills from Hyperion, we'll see. And that's gonna be also a thing here. Is he ever going to be finishing or not? Because he wants to be apparently still using the Pharaoh, I guess, maybe against the Prometheans. Though, frankly, I'm thinking that the priest maybe could be enough here. Should be rather focusing upon finishing whatever he wants to be doing. I'll be maybe liking like a tower about here. Shame is, of course, we can't be seeing the resources, and unfortunately, Pharaoh proved to be quite an idiot. Moving forward into a horrible position against right now the Prometheans. And what's the Pierce armor on the Tourmain? They are going to be having 30% here. Don't remember how it is on Retold, what kind of difference there was made. If there was made one, you can see Slingers are gonna be having 20%. Overall, and the monument is done. So, right now, of course, the monument is original, so the range of it is not gonna be the measly, I don't know, half a screen, not even, but rather bigger than the screen. So it's gonna be reaching somewhere about like there, maybe, the blocking power. And that means that southwards it's gonna be... oh, this one is gonna be certainly exposed. But it looks like that ULysses is gonna be right now already resigning, since he's not entirely liking his chances against the 3 TC Oranos with, right about now, also some extra heroic age and stimulants and everything. Yeah, because he just kinda legitimately, they missed each other in there. It's kinda lucky. ULysses going for a bit of a fun stuff in there. I wonder if he actually really got the extra gold somewhere, or if he just really didn't spawn for the egg. Because there's like 1 gold there, 1 gold leftwards, and there's only 1 here, and we don't see anything else. I don't think it should be this one. That's mirrored there. So yeah, I'm thinking there's like 1 gold somewhere, probably, at minimum 1. Are they, by the way, playing rated or not? No, they're not. Okay, so... oh, actually, they are. 1v1 Supremacy. We are already rejoined, so it's fine. So, I guess, well, armies, that's not gonna be really anything. Yep. And on the villagers, we are going to be Hendux and Pickaxe. And for the Atlantean, you can see it's gonna be having Shaft Mine. So, let's have a look into the post-game. That's gonna be a quicker one than elsewhere. You're having fewer things here. Nothing in unit skilled, apparently the same here, kind of. 433 classic advance, ULysses. I'm kinda still curious why he didn't try to go fast heroic. Again, maybe trying to be playing something fancy, but 1 TC fast heroic into pre-siege. That's a definitely good option. GG. Can say right now the difference at the end is going to be some 13,000, some 5,500, 5,600 probably. GG. Okay, so get one more. That's probably what I have time for. (3-1). So apparently that game previously was just only win the long one. So far for ULysses. Sensuy apparently in some proper form. So Tundra is gonna be upon us, and it's gonna be well, the one with berries instead of goats. Now that's also something that you don't know from Retold anymore. I'm gonna be right now having also some extra gold, not extra gold, rather the first gold beyond the base currently. That seems to be quite an easy spot, very close TC by the way. Oh, wondering if it's gonna be something inviting. And we're gonna be having a mirror right now, seeing that. You can say now Oranos for Yuli, Prostamas aka Sensuy is gonna be of course having what else? No, and for him the gold mine also at the back, partially blocked by the berries, but Atlantean he doesn't care at all. So for him it wasn't any kind of problem. Could have been an issue for some other civilizations. You could of course also get the extreme spawns when you get the gold like in this spot, and you will be having the berries around it. That sucked butt. It was kinda tough when you got it. And you weren't Atlantean. No, but yeah, now we have to be waiting right now for the players to show us the rest of the map. And all the other details that are gonna be awaiting us in this version of Tundra for them. So far the TC's number 2 is gonna be also quite a bit close here for Prostamas. The same as for ULysses. For ULysses it maybe kinda seems like it's gonna be a bit more cozy. It's also kind of like the path of the gold, so you can just kind of see the whole protection line, military buildings then potentially here. Might not be too terrible. And on the other side of the map, we are gonna be there for having at least some kind of nice forests around, so you can potentially drop a wall there, or maybe military buildings, temple here, possibly to block the path there, and a wall then to the top, and it can be basically done. No, but also the problem could be, and should be, rather, that this is original Tundra, as opposed to a retold one. This one is very rare to be having some gold mines that would be nice for you, because that's kind of like the original thought of Tundra is, that you have the gold mines literally just between the players and far away from them. Whereas on retold you can kinda not uncommonly spawn with like one of the gold mines being a bit closer to you, somewhat kinda side of the map and stuff, but here it didn't entirely happen as much. So therefore you're gonna be having to fight for it. But well, again, we are having the mirror here, so I'm really curious how it's gonna be played. Atlantean mirrors, to be honest, were one of the entertaining ones. Especially when More, for example, played them. He always approached them interestingly. Girdle of Hippolyta, same relic of course as we have. And well, still gonna be waiting for the number 2, because we are having only 2, not 4. That frankly isn't entirely too much of a bad thing that they added like the extra relics. It's kind of fine with me. Most of them aren't entirely super game changing. Then there's the B, where most people kind of ignore the relics as well. That's also a part of it. But I also understand why the original developers wanted to be having only 2 per map, for example. They didn't want to be right now influencing the competitive too much. They wanted to be keeping it just like a bit of an extra little piece to fight for, instead of giving so many relics that everybody is gonna be picking up something somewhere. And here I am, bro. Hey. Yeah, well, I was noticing ULysses and Sensuy playing games lately, so I just kinda thought if there's gonna be an opportunity on today's session, we could be having a game or 2. So well, that's where we are. Guys graciously agreed to be adding a bit of lag to their game, of course, since they are both Latinos, Brazilian and Chilean, and I'm connecting from Europe, but yeah, well, I usually have a decent connection, so hopefully it's not gonna be too bad for the players. But yeah, not probably gonna be having time for too many games, depends how long it's going to be. But I'm thinking that maybe this is gonna be probably the last one that I'm having time for, but you're gonna be able to enjoy more of them at ULysses stream, twitch.tv/ULysses, SS, AoT at the end. He is streaming all of this, so you can enjoy the games there as well. Okay. Oh, okay. Are we gonna be getting right now triple Oracle Valor? That's at this point already like always wanting me to actually see that. Such a long time since I have seen that. Just kinda not spreading them into all the corners of the world. to gather some favor for the Atlantean. No, no, no. Prometheus, you can see same age advance. That's gonna be right now the advance in Valor in Variance. As you can see, Prostamas is not gonna be doing that. Protection of the gold. Okay, double military barracks and 1 counter barracks. That is an interesting build. That wasn't too common back then. Can say it now. No, yeah, ULysses is gonna be going for the standard one. Considering that we don't have Oceanus with Bite of the Shark here. Interesting, right? No, and now of course, right, Sensuy is gonna be having a bit stronger army overall. Okay, this way. He's gonna be having the stronger first units, but at the same time, of course, the oracles are gonna be like an extra part, extra piece of units. But it seems like that right now, Prostamas has seen it quite a bit correctly and gauged it correctly. So with so many Murmilos, the oracles are gonna be pretty much becoming dead meat here. So not entirely certain if it's gonna be working that well. However, he is gonna be able to get a quite nice Murmilos around here. And it's gonna be an easy kill. Oracle is gonna be dead get too, but that's not much of a point at this point in this. He's not gonna be having any kind of further role in the game. Frankly, that they have given them a role for the favor gathering in Retold is kinda fine, because they otherwise were a bit of a moot unit lately, after starting here Classical Age, and they were practically useless. Sure, you could be having some really meme strategies with those also involved. Sometimes you will be seeing it played, but it was literally just meme, it wasn't anything relevant, and oh man. Seems like somebody is gonna be lucky here. Bit of a shame he didn't get them to move a bit further. No, behind. ULysses. Beyond them. Not let them escape. Jesus Christ, it's even easier to right now block the units in original game than in Retold. In Retold it's a bit easier to run. And kind of sneak through the enemy forces. But at least 1 kill is in. Potentially the second could be also coming somewhere down the line. So, no, well, looking at the hit points. Yes, sir. Thinking that's gonna be coming. Definitely expecting that to be a thing. And do we have... yes, we do have a Chemical Guild. Okay, Robalista, nice. Can say it now, Hendux. Other side is gonna be there for having so far Pickaxe. I've chosen a bit opposite way. And doesn't seem like it probably the Robalista is gonna be there in time. Just blocking the scouting, of course, with the Oracle, or from the Oracle. But it looks like it right now, Sensuy, after that initial, potentially you could say victory against the Oracles, he's gonna be right now slightly behind. However, he just wasn't having all the units in one place and space. And it's gonna be right about now, allowing, of course, the Toxotai, and especially right now the relevant Tourmate to be getting a bit more hit points. Can't say it now. Oh, actually, is it? Oh, it actually isn't. Oh, wow, it's not working on Tourmate. Aha. So it actually works only on archers and not counter archers. So it's not basically like an archer class, but a select units. Yeah, okay. So it's not gonna be working, for example, on slingers either or peltasts, so makes sense. It's gonna be working on Archie after, hopefully. Yeah, unless they of course forgot about it, the devs, and it was a bug. Okay, nice. Again, the same problem. Never just gonna go in front of the units where they would be likely to run, and therefore just blocking the path in there a bit better. But I guess he just wanted to be as soon as possible going back to his spot. Yeah, he could be disrupting the opponent again. Or in his military. But Kirobalista, unfortunately, that get pretty quickly. Would have been, of course, awesome if he managed to be exactly hidden beyond the forest. Now, that's a pretty annoying one to get around in the first place for Sensuy. And Sensuy is gonna be reacting immediately. Okay, so far we're gonna be on the same military buildings. There was just the counter barracks added on the other side. Valor right now by Yule, sure. What is he actually getting Valor upon? Some kind of army. Either this one or the one on the left. Yeah, I'm gonna be guessing here. Wow. Whoa, he has actually cast Valor on the villagers. Did you see that? He cast Valor on 3 villagers. Man, that's out there, kind of. Huh. That is certainly not entirely normal. But that had to be actually what he wanted to do. They were too far away from army for it to be a mistake. Somehow and whatnot. But, well, that's also, if I'm not mistaken... No. How was it actually done on the balance patch? Wasn't it kind of limited that you could be doing only 1 villager? Or was it simply the meta, that people were always kind of trying to do it in 3 units and 1 villager? At this point, don't remember anymore. But I want to say that maybe it was limited on 1 will. And people just kind of wanted to be always doing that. So they at the start were casting it in such a way. But yeah, well, that's already kind of far into the past, unfortunately. For me to properly remember. Kind of looking at the population limit, I almost want to say that we do have maybe some kind of slight advantage for Prostamas, but I'm not entirely all that certain about it. It's kind of hard to see. 4 versus 3k Robaliste currently. Oh, that's gonna be a tough one. That's a toughie right now for Prostamas. He's gonna be maybe hopefully getting at least some hits into K-Robaliste, but evidently not even that. Should have been probably trying to send at least some kind of melee units forward here to protect him. And also on top of it, we do have plenty of heroes for ULysses in here. So you can see he's doing pretty well against the Prometheans sent forward. But just the one thing that he's not capable of doing currently is getting rid of the Kairos. And they are peppering him properly, even though now they're not being as controlled as they should be. As it looks like that the GG is gonna be there for him. And they are playing some quicker games, so I guess you can be getting one last one still here. But fairly engaging. It's kind of fun to be having some old school Oranos mirror and see all the differences. The triple heroes into the oracles at the start, that was very nice. And that it actually really looked like that Prostamas should be there for getting an edge because of it, because he started with double military barracks into Murmilos against that, but it turned sour pretty quickly for him. It really did. You can see even second TC. Jeez, this guy is nicely played by ULysses. Yeah. No, well. I guess next time. Can see villages index and pickaxe. And running out of gold. Pickaxe in here. And for the army, I'm guessing that's not gonna be anything, right? Medium Murmis. And that's gonna be it, probably. Yeah. So let's have a look into the post game, where we are going to be not entirely seeing any kind of super surprising information. It's a straight mirror, so we can compare the resources a bit more directly. You can see Hundo, about 400 resources more for ULysses. In general, we get here. And currently, therefore, the score should be 3-2 for Sensuy from the games they have played today, or if I understood it correctly. Maybe. Maybe it's not only today, maybe it's also with some previous days, not sure. But you can see the military difference. Kind of nasty. I forget I have Chockware. Oh, that's probably Shockwave, right? Yeah, that's ULysses. Oh, ULysses, that's Sensuy's English right there. Military, you can say it now quite a bit same-ish all the time. Civilians, oh, that was an early edge for ULysses. Settlements, that was of course only at the end. And for the resources, that's gonna be there for, oh, we've already mentioned about like a 500 difference, right? Or what was it? 400. GG. Okay, so let's do the last one. Then I unfortunately will be having to go. And I'm hoping they're just not gonna be giving me some 40-minute game. On one hand, it would be kinda cool, but the other. Okay, so Prostamas ready. ULysses need to be coming in. Just letting them know so that they don't wait for me after. Okay. So the last game for today is gonna be ahead of us. It's gonna be, of course, okay. Again, it's gonna be Oranos versus Isis. This time it's gonna be on Oasis. No, well, that's a bit of a fun map. Don't I get to see it as often on Retold, so happy to be having this. Knowing what is gonna be there for the starting condition. Quite an easy gold. That's gonna be the first thing we see here for ULysses. I guess he's gonna be happy about that and for that, so that's pretty nice. No and 12 TC, also not entirely too super far away. So gonna be right now getting an information about the goats right nearby. And right there. Whereas, oh, actually he's not gonna be getting that information. That's an information for the Oranos. Yeah, well, I completely forgot right about now the civilization bonus. That's how kind of normal it is to be looking at everything without the fog of war. So yeah, apparently it's gonna be the 4 small ones, right? Yes, 4 small ones. Maybe kind of hoping for the proper old school, the one huge oasis in the middle. Oh yeah. Now that's of course how the original maps could be spawning. Super far away gold mine, even beyond the tower. If this were the Egyptian, he would be probably quite a bit sad about that kind of spawn, but the Atlantean, he doesn't have to be minding too much. Starting apparently on 3 zebras. Opposition is he not having the hunt? Did it spawn off the map all? Oh, wow, what the freak? That's his starting hunt. Nah. 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 Don't tell me that's actually a starting hunt. That's nah. I'm trying to remember how the original map was. If the original was also having just giraffes and gazelles as an extra. And the zebras were only the starting one. If so, that's kind of brutal. But at least he did manage to discover that, so I guess that's gonna be a good job for him. And still, well, better option than spawning off the map, which also could have, of course, happened. Yeah, that's kinda wild. No, lions with 100 food on them. Not gonna be entirely too superb, but I guess maybe it could be at least something to help him out. But he does have also the giraffes nearby, so maybe that's gonna be maybe slight help. But I'm thinking not, because the Atlantean is gonna be probably advancing pretty quickly. And since he has seen this, he should be realizing that the Isis is gonna be pretty slow, and he might be wanting to push a 4-minute advance, to be honest. I can see right now temple done. He might be wanting to do that, to be as quick as possible and disrupt him as much as he can. Yeah, for maybe forcing some kind of weird 1 TC faster heroic, probably. Can see Relic is gonna be Nose of the Sphinx, that's pretty great. That is pretty cool. And the second, well, we're gonna be having to wait for still. Nothing entirely too super important here for Mr. Sensuy just yet, otherwise, you can see it now, villager done. So are we already gonna be having the next age? No. Considering that he's not getting the new villager here after, I was almost wanted to say that maybe not, but he did have everything correct. He just didn't have the wood, of course, for the will, because he's gonna be going for the 4-minute advance, very much as we expected, as we suggested would be a good idea. And it's gonna be also... yes, pulse. There we go. So let's take a screenshot, of course, in here. Yeah, I've cleaned everything in there in the screenshots because I was taking a lot of space in there. So instead of what, I don't know, some 1800 or how many screenshots I had there, it's gonna be a 0, so goodbye. And it's gonna be actually quite a good idea, because this build is gonna be also relying upon the early oracles turned into heroes. So having one less, Chief is gonna be there for having opportunity to make a new one. Yeah, he did. There we go. That's gonna be the new one for the full trio. Now, of course, right now, we probably liking to be having Userkaf maybe on the other side of the granary, so that he can be a bit easier running away. There's the Valor. I'm thinking that the villager probably was trying to maybe block them again, but this time not gonna be having the opportunity for that anymore, unfortunately for her. But villager's running, maybe didn't have to be all that much yet. He can theoretically really fight this, in my opinion. It's gonna be costing him like a maybe villager or 2, but it definitely will be possible. But since he's gonna be able to lure the opponent next to the DC, then I guess it's all fine. He's having at least some chickens left. Can see right now, hair double stew. But a bit of a shame about the giraffes, no? Maybe could have been trying to push them a bit closer to the base, how it's done on Retold. You can theoretically done it And you can theoretically do it here too. It is a possibility. But I guess, well, maybe next time. Maybe should be already taken half of the villages and move in somewhere else. Problem is he didn't discover maybe the monkeys yet, right? Because we still should be having the monkeys somewhere on the map. And that's gonna be one group. And that's the second. Okay, there they are. He would have to be going here. Maybe he would be able to dodge blue. Not sure if you would be looking for him there necessarily. Probably gonna be right now single-mindedly trying to push through the middle. Because he's gonna be smelling the blood in the water. Yes, this volume is gonna be certainly important here. No, and what else then? So far the go toss. Bust at 538. So in plenty heroes there, unfortunately, still. Can't be entirely like freely and counter attacking with the Sphinx, as you'll be probably wishing. He might definitely try to harass him. The speed is gonna be certainly there. Can straight now 5.3 is alright. It's gonna be only slightly slower than the Tourmay and 4.4 for the Oracles. So he should be alright here. Yeah, forcing them off. And probably, that's the armory. It's gonna be the 1 TC Fasty Heroic, as it kind of should be now. You're already expecting that in the first game that was played. There it wasn't a thing. Maybe he's gonna be able to get himself a few more goats, and that would be actually excellent bonus, frankly. Yep. Husband research, by the way. Bit of a shame he doesn't know about the ones through bottom here. If he's gonna be lucking up on those, that to be even further fortifying his position. And you can see even berries here. Yeah, mentioned it earlier, maybe it would be nice if he got into the monkeys. He'll be also having something else there. No, but, well, he doesn't really have all that much of a control of that just yet. So maybe somewhere down the line. Okay, so we're gonna be therefore having just a clear build. On the other side, are we having some specifics? Probably not gonna be expecting anything we don't have. Oh, okay. So he's gonna be heading right about now for the economy. System of Bust is the second relic for the cheaper villages. That's gonna be pretty sweet considering the second TC here for the Atlantean. We'll be saving him a lot of res. Oh, and now it's gonna be all about if he managed to drop some kind of a decent Migdol. Frankly, the gold mine is not too far away. That's a very nice gold mine for an Oasis. So he can be dropping, can see Migdol about here under protection of the tower, building from the left side. That is definitely very much possible. So he should be fine. Prosperity coming in, so there should be Neftis probably soon coming forward. Right now, probably just missing the gold. Yeah, that's the Neftis after the next villager. Nice. Some proper old school play. Hey, right now, remember that he could be right now getting into the recording game, and that's gonna be therefore letting us know at least the god powers here, somewhat. If I'm not mistaken, yeah. If you're gonna be clicking into the specific player. Not gonna be really giving us anything else, but even that is actually kinda useful. Because I was kinda missing that. It was long-term bothering me. Why I'm not seeing the god powers, because I remember seeing them before. I was kinda thinking, was it because of something we have done on the balance patch, but no. It's right about now the observant interface here. A bit more for the recording games, at least partially helping. Oh, I can't get god powers, at least the ages rather, sorry. Now the god powers. But there is also something that you're gonna be probably able to somewhat remember, I guess. But well, just a bit of a little thingy here. Yeah, it's gonna be maybe useful, maybe not. Mentally certain what else it could be possibly otherwise still doing. So do we switch into something else? Okay, so double military barracks already coming forward as well here. By the way, he's gonna be having a problem with gold, because you look at the map and the next gold mine seems to be so far here. Unless there's gonna be one hidden there, then that's also kinda horrible for the blue player. We're having 4, 1, 2, 3. There has to be one more. Because you have 1, 2, 3, 4 to the bottom, 1, 2, 3 to the top side, so there probably is one here. Unless it's spawned off the map, which again you never could be sure about in the original game, then there might be one more gold mine for blue that you could be playing with. Ah, yeah, there it is. There it is. Yes, some kind of knowledge of the maps is definitely a useful thing to have, as this really will be probably moving for that gold mine, but maybe it could be useful Maybe dropping a palace on it or something. Can say it now something there. No, not age. No age yet. And we have economical guild. And that's of course gonna be there for the plow. Coming forward. For the opposition, we are getting right now pickaxe. Siege works so far. Seems like he's gonna be going for the classic pre-siege. Yeah. Combination is evident. And he's not even gonna be bothering securing the gold mine. He's just gonna be going straight for the win. I definitely appreciate it. And I'm happy we're gonna be seeing that attempt. It's a bit of a fun strategy that didn't entirely get played as often as maybe as it should have been, even in the Voobly balance patch days, because it frankly was still pretty powerful. When somebody rarely did it, it still proved that even after all the changes to the balance, it still was pretty damn great against Oranos. Or any kind of Atlantean that is, but of course, mostly people would be playing Oranos at that point. So it was of pretty good relevance. No, and let's see how he's gonna be able to therefore deal with it. If he's gonna be having enough army or not, that is the real question. He's gonna be right now apparently popped. It seems like, I guess he's gonna be having enough manors. We don't entirely see as many of them, of course, as in the original. No, as in Lethal rather. But, oof, that was a hard shockwave. No, you're not gonna be able to shockwave the heroes, right? So that's gonna be one of the problems. That is gonna be in front of you. Yeah, one needs to be sent forward at minimum so that he can be possibly luring some damage from the from the Turmei into the siege tower in here, as the Murmilos are getting right now one by one destroyed. Even of course the Mythion is helping out with that properly. However, it seems like that we are somewhat dwindling for the red player. Siege towers obviously not, but the priests have been pretty much eliminated there. Yeah, right now back on the moved into the further gold mine. And now, are we gonna be able to go forward? Do we have enough? Oh, need to be healing definitely the Sphinx. Then possibly. And he also hasn't cast the Ancestors yet, so that's like also a fairly important piece, right? That you're still gonna be having this nuclear weapon practically in the original. Hey. Hey, what are we planning here? No, Lumbercamp maybe it's gonna be one part. Might be having a plan for something else maybe down the line. Possibly some Migdol, not sure if it's TC, possibly even. Could be on his mind. Just gonna throw in units for basically naught in here. Nothing there, and that's the Thea. Okay, so the battle minute, we're gonna be there for having the Heroic Age as well. Not gonna be able to get, unfortunately, anything too useful, because the Infalian Birds are just gonna be getting shot down quite easily. And, well, what else? Some Kontari maybe, not as powerful as they were in the origin, as they are in Retold, but could be maybe still some kind of variant to help out here, considering what we have as types of units. No, but the Ansis, I'm loving how quick they are. And what is the speed actually of them? 6 speed, by the way, they have. That's kind of awesome. And now they're able to get everywhere they want. And I think I'm halfway afraid that he cast it maybe a bit too soon. Still gonna be having 35 seconds of them, so danger is certainly there. But it would have been a whole lot better if we managed to get a bit closer, and the siege towers simply were a bit of a delaying effect here. Nice to be, of course, having the Heroic Age in the top 1. But really, is it gonna be a real difference? That is the real question. Yes, what do we get? Something new here. I get a medium infantry. That's very nice, of course, to be getting upgrade from the counter barracks. Logically. Relic is gone, but they weren't entirely too relevant anymore here. System of Bust and... No, well, actually, no, so this thing's kinda is relevant. So, I'm taking that back. That actually was pretty important. No, and now, with the proper gold income, we're gonna be having the priests all across the place, same as the siege towers here. Yeah, and the Tundra or Tundra Turmei are barely able to do anything about it. However, we do have the citizens with bonus damage against siege weapons, plus 300%. So they are absolutely legit here. So he just needs to be still a bit careful. As well, on Retold, for the past few months, we already do not have, or anymore, don't have any more of the damage bonus in there. But yeah, the priests, of course, they're gonna be getting all kinds of funny upgrades. And also from the Neftis in there. Yep, seems like that we are not entirely doing too badly. However, destroying the TC, that's a bit tricky. You can see the villages through the top side, unfortunately, getting a bit confused as well here. Oh, now it's actually getting a bit all over the place. So it almost feels to me that maybe right now Sensuy is gonna be able to defend this in the end. Okay, that one siege tower might be able to finish. This one is dead. Eee. No, friendly could be just gonna leave it in the spot, I think, in the siege tower and dealing the damage and seeing how it works out, after. But good preparation by Sensuy. Obviously, he should be having experience with all of this, but we at least did manage to get the TC in the middle. So ULysses is gonna be gaining some good map control out of all of that. You can say it now, gold mine almost getting out, and we're gonna be having the need to move into the next one. Bit unfortunate, we don't have a gold mine in the middle that we could be taking care of and that we could be using. That would be pretty nice. Should be picking up as soon as possible, then also the Sphinx at minimum. I mean, like, he's gonna be even getting the further villages, so he right now lost, so he should be getting both also as quickly as possible. Definitely should be repairing the TC. This is right now just gonna waiting for a disaster. Pickaxe and plow. Opposition is gonna be the same from what I can see here. Yep. And no. Is he gonna be kind of like rushing this a bit? Oh. Look at the amount of the Murmilos here. Yeah, that he's gonna get his ass handed to him. I think this is a good battle potentially waiting here for a Prostamas. It's not entirely looking too comfortable, I guess, at this point for ULysses to fight. Is he actually gonna be able to right now maybe switch into anything? Because so far he's gonna be still proceeding with what he has. Hopefully he's having multiple temples, by the way. He's having 2. Maybe could be adding further one forward somewhere in there. Said he will be a bit closer. Because if he could be adding maybe like a few axemen, that would be excellent. But yeah, well, that's the food economy. And it's getting a bit complicated there already. So feels to me that maybe right now Prostamas has been able to successfully defend here for the moment. Now let's see if he's gonna be having an opportunity for the counter attack. And of course, you can't be getting any kind of second ancestors. The first ones were cast, and they are also the last ones. So you don't have any kind of backseas or attempts number 2. Now he's gonna be having to do it through the power that he has. And really, I'm just gonna thinking he cast them way too soon, the ancestors there. They should have been cast when he was almost in the enemy base, and there would be almost like no way for the enemy to escape. Thinking he miscast it, no. And now he's of course having to right now fight an actual battle. How many monuments do we have? 3rd TC even, okay. 1 monument, that's a second. So far looks like 2 monuments, right? Allowing him at least a few units. Now the Scorpion men are gonna be quite a bit excellent here. Exactly, needs to be having actually 3. It needs to be having exactly something in the front lines to stave off the worst of the Murmilos. He doesn't have any kind of heroes, but he can probably turn a few of them here and there. You can say it now, unfortunately, the Turmei. No, literally, Turma 1 is up. But much more importantly, we have also managed to get destroyers because we have a palace protecting the gold mine, even though that's gonna be only 2,000 left. No, kinda feels to me that maybe soon we're gonna be getting a decision either way. Most probably so. To say right now what's gonna be necessarily the pop limit for each of them. But theoretically, we should be getting higher for ULysses, but the question is if he's gonna be really pop. He's having so many siege towers, I'm kinda slightly afraid if maybe that's not gonna be too many even in the end. Can see of course just the Spirit of Maat. They can then therefore cheaper, plus range from the hands of the Pharaoh. He doesn't have the black one, kinda like the black cape, what is it? How is it called? I now forgot actually how is it called, that upgrade. It's missing still that, possibly. Just gonna be checking in case there was maybe... Aha! No, of course there's there. Of course there is a mythical age coming forward. I was kinda thinking that might be the case. Because we are not entirely seeing any kind of activity. There's gonna be Osiris from the other side. Okay, moving on the gold, but question is if maybe Sensuy noticed because he's having constantly the oracle in place. What the hell? They were just gonna follow him all the time to kill him? No, if so, that's a bit odd, but yes, he did notice. He saw it. He's gonna be casting Hecate somewhere at the back because they are the monument. No, maybe like here. It's not gonna be able to cast it anywhere nice. because he's gonna be blocked well enough. Classic, of course, Atlantean. Secrets of the Titans immediately coming up. No, and that's a huge problem currently right now for ULysses. Blocking and losing all of that. He's gonna be, of course, at this point losing also... No, not the TC, luckily. The Osiris is gonna be finished. But does he have the Pharaoh at good hit points still? Does he even have the Pharaoh right now? Oh no! Ooh, he lost the Pharaoh. He's gonna be having to wait like a minute and a half until that's gonna be reborn. Bad things right now coming for Uli. Bad things indeed right now are afoot for him. Okay, there's the Titan Gate. ULysses, of course, lost the TC on the left side already. He's gonna be able to right about now deal with the Tartarian Gate, hopefully, I guess. It's not entirely all that certain. But the Titan Gate is gonna be pretty much like an unreachable problem at this point for him. It's right now quite a solid control of ULysses here. Champion Murmilos with already iron shields and copper weapons. Economically, by the way, we are going to be having Shaft Mine with Sacred Katos. And the blue player is going to be, as you can see, just the pickaxe and plow. Well, he seems to be kind of fine on that. I'm not sure what this village is right now trying to do here. Probably moving somewhere, but he got walled off looking at the minimap. Yeah, he probably was just moving somewhere, and he's right now trying to go all the way around. Always reminds me of, what was it, a monkey, I think it was. I was trying to run around the whole Oasis. That was a huge middle Oasis. And there was a wall on one side, and it was trying to get into the other side because it was somehow spooked. And it had to be going all the way around the map to actually finish. So, this took a lot longer than it maybe should have. Let's say now Son of Osiris is trying to deal with the problem, but he's receiving tons and tons of damage with ULysses. Ah, well, getting a Titan Gate himself. In the Titan Argos. But is he gonna be able to finish it in some kind of decent timing? Can see 43%. Might not entirely be having enough time for that, maybe. We'll see. Problem is I'm definitely also not gonna be having time in a few minutes. Gonna be having to take a short break. Gonna be having to let it run for a moment. But yeah, well, they have decided after short games having some of a banger. That's the game number 3 for us. Gonna be possibly able to watch the rest of it still normally at ULysses' Twitch TV Ulysses, as you see it, double S, AoT at the end. No, and now it's gonna be all about if he manages to get there in time. He probably should be. This isn't going to be empowerable. There used to be one patch, I think it was until, where was it removed? Like 102 AoT, I think it was removed. Before that, it was possible to empower Titan Gate with Son of Osiris, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was only SOO, because they just kinda didn't give him the tag that he shouldn't be able to do so. Or remove the tag, I don't know. Add or remove. So with Son of Osiris, you could be removing Titan Gate or empowering Titan Gate. So of course, it was of course quite a bit broken. Titan Gate up, or Titan rather up. And we are going to be having Titan... TC actually ready, which is quite nice for the population, because that's gonna be also a major problem for ULysses. So even if maybe he's getting the Titan done, he's probably gonna be having problems after anyway. No, but well, you can do all kinds of tricks to block the Titan's path in here on the original game. So we'll see if he's gonna be able to, right now, remember that, ULysses, and block him. 60%, that feels like he should be able to finish. If he's gonna be properly path blocked, he should be able to finish, to be honest. So I'm thinking that maybe ULysses, yeah, he's even kind of giving up on that right now. Just gonna be getting rid of the town center first, and then... No, it's not gonna be too much of like a sacrifice 1-for-1, unluckily. Right, because you can see he's going to be getting, unfortunately, quite low hit points in there. Son of Osiris should be also looking out against it, to be honest. At least positioning in a way is gonna be doing damage to those and the Titan. Okay, that's a nice defensive fort here. And just at the best moment, I'm gonna be having to leave in a moment, for a moment. There's the Titan Titan, of course, as well. Descending on the other side, and, well, there we go. That's gonna be the fight. I recommend right about now probably watching on ULysses stream, because you're gonna be having a bit more of a fight in there. Thinking that maybe we can be there for looking at it again from recorded game, so that I can then... continue with that. So, see you in a few minutes, I guess. Well, they are still actually playing. Okay, so let us therefore right now continue with that. I'm gonna be having to look at the Titan battle again properly. So sorry for not showing it, but yeah, well, it is the midnight here, so fortunately people are with these nonsenses, so we have to be observing certain nonsense things. But we are gonna be at this point looking like that we have gotten into a bit more of a stable situation than it was when I was leaving. Kinda look like that maybe should be already a done deal for Sensuy practically, but evidently not entirely as much. As you can see, for example, on the armor, you're gonna be having double bronze in there, and for the Archie, you can say now they're gonna be a lot better. Double iron and copper should be looking a bit hotter therefore for Prostamas overall. The EC to the top side is gonna be probably unblocked, no, and probably we have moved mostly into the middle. I'm expecting, or rather would be a good idea to be moving the military buildings a bit forward. Evidently also need to be moving forward all of the units as well, and helping with that at least a bit. And well, what else here? The villages maybe can be checking out. Oh, some kind of second level, not entirely the greatest that it could be, but at least something, I guess, for the opposition. It's gonna be only on the basic ones. Oh, it would be awesome to see how many resources they actually have on the account, as it might be fairly important right about now how it is and what it is. Son of Osiris is actually still very much alive here. Well, that's a bit of a surprise, frankly. Wouldn't have necessarily expected that, but alright. Should be probably able to get to him soon, but gonna be having quite nice mobile hide-in space here. Yeah, the classic with the siege towers. But definitely like it right now, the attempt here with blocking at least the TC here is in some kind of way and fashion. So that we can maybe have a bit of a harder time currently for Prostamas to break through. It seems like he's gonna be able to get in anyway, because currently we have mostly, as you can see right now, some charioteers, and therefore destroyers are gonna be able to tank all of that, and at the same time they're gonna be excellent to get rid of the watchtowers here. Do we have burning pitch? No, we don't. So therefore, at that point, archers are becoming quite a bit excellent also against the towers. So this is gonna be right now some kind of maybe good chance for blue to possibly, not entirely certain if take the TC, but maybe he could be trying to drop at least a palace somewhere nearby. But yet again, I'm halfway thinking that he maybe doesn't even have the resources for all of that. Oh, mercenaries coming up. Do we have a trade, by the way? Yes, we do, right? Could have been slightly longer, but I guess good enough. No, and that's something that maybe could be right now turning things around here in favor of ULysses after all. Legitimately good. But is he having the plan or not? No, so far he's not sending anybody forward. He's having one villager, but it's obviously not gonna be making enough of a difference. Llama's getting ready. That's even shorter trade. Should have been, of course, going all the way, because again, it's not linear. So the longer the path is going to be, the better trade you are going to be getting. It is some kind of function in there. So therefore, any kind of distance you're gonna be cutting is effectively costing you effectivity on gold. But that's gonna be finally the palace. So you mentioned a bit earlier, it's gonna be definitely one step closer towards possibly getting the TC here. And now if he gets the resources, maybe there's gonna be a good chance to get it. Obviously the siege towers are gonna be a bit annoying, but with the amount of right now destroyers that we have here, finally getting closer in here, it's gonna be dead here very soon. 21 hit points. That is pretty nice. And another palace actually even. So he's thinking he doesn't have right now enough power to take the TC just yet. Maybe he could be even turning some of the villages into heroes so that he's gonna be a bit faster in collecting the settlement. Okay, we have already seen this a bit before. All these right part now, towers and everything. But unfortunately, didn't really lead into the victory then. Now it's gonna be maybe at least some kind of help, it seems like. Yeah, there's gonna be another distraction there. Citizens, of course, are gonna be super huge help here too. So one palace gone, at least the second has been also built, so it's gonna be pretty useful. After all, it's not gonna be any kind of mistake for him. Another useful part here, as we have a half-an-hour battle. Gonna be having to look at the, kind of like the few minutes in there in the middle, around the Titan again. Just gonna be running through it. Yeah, gonna be probably here in here. This one is close. These fireworks. So I'm guessing you're gonna be here in it too. And he's still alive. Oh, almost. Almost there. At this point, it looks like it maybe the mercenaries are gonna be the things that are gonna be keeping ULysses in the fight still. At least feels to me. Three hit points, literally 3 hit points. So one arrow is gonna be hitting him somewhere, and it's gonna be gone. But now he can be still rarely fairly useful. But there he goes. No, and that's gonna be right about now meaning quite a bit of a decrease in the damage output that ULysses is gonna be able to field into the battle. And of course we are back where we were just some minutes ago, with the towers coming forward this time from ULysses into the engagement and into the battle. Now it's gonna be probably time for another villager to come in and get some further stuff done. So have we gotten some further upgrades? We are still the same where we were. In here, for the red player, we have, I think, gotten a bit deeper. I'm not entirely certain if he was actually double bronze before. Wouldn't be necessarily thinking, so I'm just kind of interested in, is there some kind of villager here? Yes. No, he has gotten himself at least irrigation. And you can see, I think in hand axe. One of those he didn't have, either hand axe or pickaxe, I'm guessing hand axe. So it's good that he is at least finally having some kind of extra additions in those. But now it's gonna be also mostly about how well he's gonna be able to also slightly control the unit, especially the archers against especially the axemen, so that the destroyers can be taken down. Anything else And everything else that's gonna be coming his way, with palaces not too far away here. That's looking pretty solid. And alright. And so far it feels like that maybe it should be theoretically right now Sensuy who should be winning, but the problem is he's just gonna be having practically infinite trade here, unless he's gonna be right now finally dropping something into the middle of it and trying to block that. Right now I just imagine that maybe ULysses is gonna be having almost infinite gold and can therefore do whatever the hell he wants. And seems like the combination of the mercenaries together with siege towers is not much of a bad one. Well, and it's a classic original game Egyptian. Once you get the trade set up, it's gonna be incredibly hard to get rid of him. Exactly, you can see right now what kind of joy it is to do that. And, there's gonna be a pharaoh. Where is he? What kind of number? Userka the third. So he actually didn't die entirely too much. He died, well, maybe at the start. Then he died before he would be turned into Osiris. Unless that would have been like the second. And if you turn him into Osiris, then, well, you get born or reborn as the third one. Not sure. Maybe could be. Could be. Also making some kind of sense. So maybe he only died before the SOO there. Okay, tower's gone. Both the built one and under construction. What is this? Oh, that's just an obelisk, of course, giving some extra vision to him and for him. And only now he's gonna be getting an upgrade into the siege towers. Alright. Seeing that they are still gonna be probably quite a bit useful. But we don't unfortunately have right now the attempt on the tower. On the palace. And we have pretty much a dead gear villager. Gonna be having to send certainly something a bit forward and further in there from Prostamas. They don't really seem to be right now having too much of an opportunity to close the game here just yet. Yeah, the mercenaries at this point. Considering what kind of statistics they have, they're 51% melee resistance, 50 pierce resistance, completely stupid hit points, 247, 14.4 attack. Yeah, they are. The original ones are so stupidly busted. No, well, and of course, Egyptian players, like especially Magic, were keeping them OP for such a long time and such long years. Because they just kinda insisted that they are an inherent gameplay of the Egyptians. Yeah, they never were. They were just a crutch that the players were used to be having more easier gameplay in general, but they never were needed. They were just like a bit of a weird extra. Not entirely certain why actually they were even made so strong by Ensemble Studios. I mean, like, I understand probably why, because that's inspired by Nubians, and they were really some of the elite units in the ancient ages. But they just like completely broke the civilization, of course, so from that point of view I'm not entirely certain why they thought that it was a good idea, especially giving it to only one civilization. That was a bit odd decision in there. But yeah, well, they were still beatable, the Egyptians. Players were able to play against those, so I guess somewhat okay. Gonna be even right about now having some kind of fun stuff elsewhere. But again, I'm kind of thinking that maybe unless Ulysses Prostamas is gonna be going for the trade, he can't be winning this. Because I mean, like, the trade is absolutely at this point bonkers and will be pretty much right now unsolvable puzzle otherwise. Can see good empowerment here also. This could be just going here for, I don't know, for an hour. This battle in the middle, it's not really gonna be heading anywhere. They need to be really going for something else. It's not gonna be really leading anywhere. Maybe at maximum it could be leading to victory for Ulysses, when he's gonna be getting finally enough upgrades and he's gonna be good enough there. No, and since this could be actually going anywhere, I think I'm gonna be having a quick look on some of the fireworks, because this is simply, you can be leaving it here for a moment and it's not gonna be changing too much. I'll be back in a minute. So, did we miss anything? No, seems like that not. So, exactly as I thought that it's going to be. We haven't even made any kind of... we have actually made a sidestep all the way upside. So it was ULysses who is gonna be doing that. Bit of a problem maybe to get the TC under control, but still. Catapults, of course, quite a strength and quite a power beyond them. And, well, that's gonna be right now apparently there for the ending moment, as ULysses is still gonna be having a high score in here. And, fortunately, not gonna be enough, but damn, really looking forward to that little moment when I was having to leave what actually happened in there, because that looked like that Prostamas was almost ready to win, but I guess the Titan fight didn't really go according to expectations in there. Nice game. I'm thinking it could have been actually over if ULysses was frankly getting the ancestors later. And he cast them way too soon, and therefore it cost him the opportunity to kill the TC, in my opinion. If he cast them somewhere when he was already like there, I'm thinking it would have been a win right here. And yes, he should have been blocking trade here at the late game. That was quite a bit clear. So, for Mercenary Cavalry, you can see he managed to get even iron weapons in there. So we did get some improvements extra. Same as right now, apparently ULysses, or ULysses Sensuy, finished his armory upgrades too. Villagers managed to get at least the last... But it was literally the last few minutes in here. You can see right now pickaxe there. And for the opposition, we were missing just carpenters here too. Yeah, well, seems like Sensuy also was missing the gold there for a bit in the middle. Maybe could have been starting with the trade a bit faster, not sure. Gold from trade, obviously, yeah, that's the broken Egyptian thing here. So I'm just gonna be right now there for thanking them for the games, because it was the last one for us. Now, and what kind of further info do we have here? Somewhat similar statistics here all around. Nothing too extraordinary. 842. .536 into 842. It's not like the fastest one TC fast heroic. Obviously on the original can be doing a lot quicker. But yeah, well, he was having the complications there. Opponent forcing him off the hunt. And the civilians, well, not gonna be, of course, having too much of a relevant information because it's straight numbers. Atlantean versus Ege. You can see right now, funny how the military is going down. That's because trade is going up, of course. And we are going to be there for having... well, this is right now, again, as I mentioned, now, this should have been theoretical victory. He was having quite a strong army in there, and he was beating him. He just kind of lost on enough villages able to protect against the siege towers. So for that, he needed to be having the ancestors to block them. And he didn't know. They just kind of disappeared too soon for him, for the resources. Longer term, obviously, huge edge for the blue, especially because of the second TC there as well. And at the end, 97-8 versus, I don't know, like 12-11-6 maybe. Oh, 97-4. And, okay, so that's going to be like 12-4 possibly, 12,400 resources more for the Ege. You can see how it's increasing when the trade came in, right? Yeah, the trade is just so busted here. It for sure is. GG. Okay, so that's gonna be that. And just gonna be right about now, therefore then. No, I'm gonna be leaving the game room so that I don't confuse them. Just gonna be right now seeing the chat, and then we're gonna be launching. Gonna be taking right now a short break, and then we're gonna be looking at what happened properly with the Titans, because I didn't see it. I want to be right now seeing it as well. That's gonna be also it for tonight. So thank you very much, ULysses and Sensuy, for the look into all the games. Okay. So gonna be back in a bit, and then we're gonna be finishing properly. Okay, okay, so let us therefore do that. We can potentially watch some further games between Sensuy and ULysses at Twitch TV ULysses AoT, double S in there. Okay, so let's therefore get us as fast as possible to where we need to be. Because since it was right about now, therefore this way, oh well, we can potentially do it as it was. So keeping the pogo 4 on as well. So somewhere like 27 minutes, maybe was the Titan, somewhere there. Otherwise, no, well, as I mentioned, that's gonna be death rate for tonight. Yeah, well, you can see he cast them about there. And if he cast them about when he was almost in the base, it would have been a whole different story of them just giving himself some 10-15 seconds extra. And it might have been actually enough to right now level the base overall. There's enough time for the villagers to help him, and this is just unfortunately already gone now. I think that was the winning position there for ULysses. But the second TC from Sensuy obviously was an okay decision. And helped him right now survive all of these nonsenses. Quickly changing his mind. I was thinking he was having a bit of time to maybe have a look into the enemy base. Maybe he's struggling a bit more, but in the end, not entirely. Okay, they are the Titans. Alright, so you're gonna be right about getting it to the moment. So I guess maybe 28 was when I came back, possibly. So, I guess this was approximately the moment where I actually had to leave. But we're gonna be there for having a look proper what actually happened here, because I'm also quite a bit curious about that. But interesting is that maybe it seems like it's again a bit slower than it should be, but whatever the case, it's some kind of weird back in the recording games as well. So we're coming in with the Titan. Enemy Titan is gonna be right about now arriving pretty soon there. Thinking we have still seen this. We've left when he was coming down, the enemy one. And I think it was a correct judgment call in there by ULysses, or ULysses by Sensuy. He wouldn't be able to get into the Titan gate in time, especially since it's very easy to path block in the original game, so it's correct to be trying to gain himself some kind of advantage before that even happens. But really the problem with so many priests in here is just going to be way too many hit points lost here for the Titan of Prostamas. That's gonna be absolutely inevitably hurting him a bit too much. No, that's pretty measly army currently here for blue. And he has actually chosen to go all the way down for the gold and trade. Aha. Okay, so they were actually a lot more avoiding the fight, so now he's gonna be, of course, losing the army here, there for Sensuy. Yeah, that seems to be... No, I mean, like, I kinda understand why he was probably doing that. I think that it's gonna be because he knew he's already having low hit points, so he needs to be doing some other collateral damage before he's gonna be sacrificing the Titan for the hit points of the enemy. You can see right now he's having barely any kind of hit points. So not gonna be entirely able to do too much. Like legit. 3 hit points lost so far on the opposing side. We have already lost more than 1,000, almost 1,100. There we go. That's gonna be there for right now. At least the blue army gone and done with. No, and what's the Titan gonna be doing otherwise? Maybe going for the main TC. He's definitely having a few houses around here as well to possibly take down. Yeah, also could be something, I guess. Good opportunity right now for some Son of Osiris here. Yeah, there we go. Oh, he's actually gonna be attacking the TC. No, well, of course, since we are in the original, this is gonna be absolutely legit. We need to be finishing at 100% hit points as opposed to retold. It really is one of the stupidest mechanism changes they have done in there, to be honest. Don't really understand why, but, well, maybe only the devs do. That was one of the cleverest mechanisms actually in the game. And just gonna putting up the importance of the TCs even more. Yeah, well, they just wanted to be downplaying that, changing it into Age of Empires 2, because everything needs to be Age of Empires 2 to make them the most money. And, well, that's why we have lost plenty of the specialties that Age of Mythology had. No, well, but hopefully bit by bit, you're gonna be getting more of them back, because some of them we have already gotten, like for example the water and stuff. Partially, and that's gonna be there for the engagement of the Titanos, and at least a few heroes extra, but it's not gonna be probably on the level of what we have seen previously with the priests. And we also do have the Son of Osiris, and this is definitely the correct decision. I was going to say it's gonna be better to try and get rid of the heroes here on the Archie instead of trying to shoot into the enemy Titan, that is. So it does some good damage from the Fanatics. Gonna be surviving with like not entirely that many hit points. It's going pretty decently this fight, frankly. Maybe I don't know, some 600-700 possibly. There we go, one more. No, not sure if he actually managed to get it. He probably did. And if he didn't manage to get the last one, it would have been a slightly different story. But nonetheless, there we go. Titan gone and gone. And well, I think this is approximately where we have actually gotten back, right? Yeah, I think I remember seeing the Titans decomposing in there. That's approximately where we have gotten back. Son of Osiris right now, some low hit points, getting right now focused a bit more. So yes, I'm thinking that might have been it. So now let's roll forward into the other piece. And that's gonna be when ULysses is gonna be having the idea to go for the top TC then. Maybe in some further 10 minutes. Okay, so you're gonna be looking at what kind of streams you can enjoy further. Again, as I mentioned, definitely ULysses here is gonna be the major recommendation. He's gonna be continuing and was continuing with some games with Sensuy still on Voobly. And then, well, there's gonna be probably somebody else still streaming too. Let me right now refresh. Yeah, there's Illuminati, J-Red, Warlord, Ponexter, Zero Hour, Unique Zion, and AoT Bystander even. So some interesting names. Yeah, sorry for the disruption here. I was kinda hoping I'm gonna be managing one more game, considering they were making the short ones, but at least we got a bit of an interesting banger here. You can possibly get the recorded game. I can get it to you through Discord or whatnot if you're interested. Watch it at your own pace. But it was a fun fight. And that's, well, not necessarily how the game used to be played back in the day. There definitely is a lot of involvement of today's understanding of the game. That's for sure. So it's not only how it used to be back in the day. You would have to be getting some recorded games from RTS Sanctuary for that, for example. Or look at some games that I have on YouTube. I'll be helping out. He really wasn't too far away, Sensuy. He really wasn't. But once the Eggy gets the trade going in the late game, In the original, you just can't be breaking through a normal fight. Especially not in Atlantean. Atlantean was in the original having kind of like the weakest late game. So that was always the biggest problem for them. It was even impressive that ULysses was, that Sensuy was able to do actually so well as he was here. That's kind of impressive, to be honest. On the other hand, ULysses isn't an Egyptian main, never was. Like, he doesn't know how to play that, but he's not gonna be kind of having those little things ingrained in him. But he did manage to figure out lame is gonna be available and embrace it in the end. And that's, of course, especially when you see the mercenaries, you just need to be heading for the trade, because mercenaries are stupidly broken in the original game. And once the Egyptian embarks upon them, in combination with towers on top of it, it's absolute hell. Ah, there we go. He actually went first. Right about now here for classic wall on the catapults. So that's gonna be impossible for the opponent to deal with. I'm actually even thinking that right now Sensuy is not even knowing this is happening here, frankly. And this is also dangerous because of the trade, obviously. And the villages nearby will be probably having quite an easy time to try and get the DC right after. No, and that's gonna be suddenly population limit screwed up for, not ULysses, for Prostomas. You can see 160 out of 140 here. Decent resources. Whereas for ULysses, he's going to be right now kind of strained. Just needs to be right now getting the new one, and he is gonna be suddenly rolling. As in the original game, the bonus for the town centers, as the extra population slots for the Isis, that's a lot more relevant thing than it is on Retold. I think that's already done for it, right? Yeah, right now fighting for the TC here. Trying to block it and stop it. It's not gonna be entirely... No, no. Oh, I was a bit unlucky right now with the Pharaoh for ULysses here. Gonna be there for properly empowering that. Villages, of course, won't be finishing the town center here yet. But at least the Migdol seems like it's gonna be there for... And would have been, of course, finished. No, and that's gonna be there for the Gege. As he didn't want to be played anymore, as he was realizing that the middle is gonna be complicated. He's not disrupting the trade in any kind of way. His trade is gonna be under quite a bit of a problem. And... Yep, that is the done deal right there. But I can see ULysses wasn't entirely swimming in the gold, so his trade was working kind of so-so for what he was wanting. But, well, it allowed him to be getting the mercenaries, so that's still pretty powerful. So that's right now the few minutes that I wasn't able to provide to you properly live. So we have seen, and I have seen also what happened in there. So that's gonna be there for it for tonight. We're gonna be ending on this screen tonight, since we were playing on Voobly. And, well, if somebody's gonna be interested, definitely head into ULysses. I might just gonna give him straight a raid if somebody's still gonna be around. And then we have Killuminati. We have also streamed his game today. Then there's J-Red, some further competitive Age of Mythology. Warlord 297, that's gonna be some Arena of the Gods, it looks like he's playing. Ponexter is gonna be playing some competitive. Zero Hour, that's a campaign. AoT Bystander, that's of course competitive Age of Mythology. And Unique Zion, I think that's gonna be some against AI maybe. Oh, that's actually even, that's even on console. I'm liking how actually huge minimap they can be getting, and yeah, that's plenty of AI in there and all kinds of other stuff. So if you want to be having some kind of confusion mess like that, then feel free to head there too. Okay then, so that's gonna be there for it for tonight. So thank you very much to all the players, especially ULysses from King Clan and Sensuy currently from Organization of Natural Uppers for the original games. Then all the players we were streaming otherwise. Remembering Killuminati, of course, also from Keen. I Am Hope, Miku something. Then we had Dudu the Spartan. And, well, can't remember anybody else, unfortunately. Because my memory doesn't entirely reach that far. So sorry for not remembering everybody. But thank you very much, all the players. I didn't even mention, very much appreciated. And we're gonna be seeing some further Age of Mythology next Wednesday, as every Wednesday. Now and tomorrow we're gonna be probably having some Age of Empires too, not sure which one. Maybe some live from Nomad League if there's gonna be again something, or maybe check Auliga. Depends how the evening is gonna be working out. But yeah, most probably AoE2 tomorrow somewhere. So thank you for stopping by. Rastislav, Katy Danks, Igo Heimdall, New in Town, LGO 721, and also Nimonom, of course, probably already mentioned, and whoever may be lurked around as well. Thank you very much. I've been Blackadder at Blackadder's Place. Sorry for the disruption near the end, but I was hoping to finish before midnight, but yeah, well. There were different ideas and things in plans by the gods. So yeah. Okay then. So if there is still maybe somebody around, then feel free to switch into ULysses. I'm gonna be probably sending whoever around is here still there. And again, thank you for watching. I've been Blackadder at Blackadder's Place, and see you later. Hope you enjoyed some of the games, maybe the commentary or anything else, and yeah, see you later. Maybe see you on some further Voobly games if they're gonna be continuing with Sensuy playing some more, or if maybe somebody else is gonna be joining. So also, after all, thanks to Voobly for still running and providing some decent player base still. You can say right now 45, you can get it into like 50, maybe even 60, but 50 plus usually, even on some good days and evenings, which is not too bad, all things considered. So the original game community is still very much alive if you wish, even vanilla. We regularly mention that, and the vanilla streamers when we go through the streams at the end. So you can join still. And same goes with extended edition. Okay then, see you later.